According to ADB, I think their estimate for the amount of funds required from 2010 to 2020 is roughly 8 trillion for Asia. Out of that, about 600 billion is required for Southeast Asia. But if you look at Indonesia itself, our estimate based on the analysis that we've done for the government on their next 5-year infrastructure business plan is around $511 billion. That's required for the entire infrastructure. Out of that, roads constitute about $1 billion and $104 billion. That's required for the roads over the next 5 years. So the investment amount is massive. I think firstly, we need to understand more the fact that PPPs is not about private sector assuming all of the risks, private sector taking risks on revenue, even on projects that are not bankable, right? Governments per se want projects that have high economic impact. And most of these high economic impact projects don't have the revenue to support a normal PPP. So I think that's the first misperception that we want to change among governments, that PPPs means that governments would share some of the risk on a project by project basis. If a project requires government funding in some form, what we're suggesting is perhaps they can do some innovative funding structures like annuity payments or availability payments. They're all PPP structures, but it recognizes the fact that these are not projects that are bankable straight up. They need some form of government structure. So therefore, I would look from private sector side, I would work with government to highlight the fact that some projects are bankable, then they can be done as a pure BOT or some other form. When the projects are not that bankable, then you got to introduce alternative funding strategies, which is the kind of work that we do in help structuring such schemes. Any knowledge is a good knowledge, right? I mean, one of the biggest benefit of events like this, or the value that we receive from IRF, is the fact that you have over 60 years of history of working on, a key component of economic development is roads, right? That's a fundamental. And in fact, I remember reading in your website saying everything starts with a road. So, and that's true. Every development in any place starts with a road. So having an agency like IRF, working with Indonesian Ministry of Public Works, I think it's very positive, and I think that will add more value to people understanding better, gaining better knowledge, which will potentially lead to bigger traction in delivering infrastructure projects.